Today we have Sean Steigerwald, the founder and CEO of Customer IQ, to walk us through how they're solving CRM data integrity issues, making revenue teams more productive, and extracting actionable insights to drive revenue and retention. Sean is a serial entrepreneur. He previously founded Malartu, a funding platform and financial analytics tool for small businesses. Malartu was later acquired by Fort Capital Resources in 2021. There he went on to build Fortify, a commercial loan and payments platform. When he's not building tech startups, he spends his nights and weekends playing drums in a country band at festivals and honky-tonks between Raleigh and Nashville. When he was at Fortify, he noticed the opportunity to take what was learned on sales calls to inform the strategic direction of other teams in the business. This learning led to the founding of Customer IQ and much of what we'll discuss today. Hope you enjoy. Sean, thanks so much for being here. Super excited. I know we have a ton to go through today, and I can't wait to share this with our audience and with our customers. And in particular, I'm excited to go through the CRM data hygiene, actually demo the workflow, and then go through your approach to ontology to get a superior AI experience compared to anything else that I've seen on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited and happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think something that's always fun for the audience to hear, I think our customers to hear, and just me personally, is just to hear a little bit about the founding story and then walking into teeing up the problem that you're solving.
Yeah, definitely. So I wish the story was as clear as, we were sick of entering data into CRM, and so we built this bot to do it for us. But this is actually a result of generally kind of seeing an opportunity with using AI and unstructured data, and then working with our early users and customers to iterate on just automating a lot of tedious tasks that are in the workflow for salespeople and customer success teams. So originally we started by, this is about a year and a half ago, had been playing with a lot of the new AI models that were available. And this was actually pre-Chat GPT. So this was a couple months before that exploded the world. And my co-founder, Brian, and I had been kind of playing with the APIs of GPT-3. And the first thing that stood out to us was that we could take these large amounts of unstructured data, so like call transcripts, support tickets, emails, and get structured outputs from it. Where if we were looking for specific fields, we could find those in just a couple seconds, ask questions, and get really succinct answers. So there was just an obvious kind of like light bulb. There's a big opportunity here because, and both of us had founded a couple companies before and had always had this issue of, you want to get caught up on what a team had spoken about with a customer, and it was like, did they take good notes? Can we find the notes? Do we know where it is in the CRM? We have to read through this thread of emails and all that. So generally knew there was an opportunity. And so we set out in Customer IQ to solve what we just called the unstructured data problem. And what that has evolved into is what we do today, where the kind of first major thing that we're doing is we are aggregating all of that information from the calls to tickets and emails, and then automating really specific data entry back into the CRM. So we do a lot of cool note summarization, like what a lot of folks watching this have probably seen before, but taking it many steps further to fit the exact workflow of revenue operations, sales operations, marketing operations teams that they already have set up in their HubSpot CRM and in Salesforce. So we'll get into more details on that, but it's a little bit of the background, that led us to today.
Yeah, and I think even, there's a lot of companies that have note takers and they're automating some of that workflow, but the way in which you do it, and I'm excited when you show it, really, really solves the problem and like brings it that last mile, which I think is the most difficult part, because even with the note takers, it's, well, are they putting in the CRM correctly? Are they doing anything with those notes? Or are they just stockpiling somewhere that nobody's even, taking a look at or using the data in a meaningful way? And then RevOps is still left without the data to do the job that they need to do. Sales managers don't have access to it. And yeah, it's still a problem, even with a lot of note taker tools that are on the market.
Definitely. The note takers, it's been this amazing wave, and it's kind of the first half of the first inning of what we think of what we can do now that we're capturing all this information. And it's super important to you have to have the artifact to work from, like the call recording, and that's I think why these have taken the world by storm. But we're coming in and we just see the nth degree of opportunity from then on, because we're obviously as salespeople doing a lot more than just taking notes. And what's in those notes, that the context informs everything in the sales cycle and the post-sales cycle, how we build products, how we serve customers, improve their experience. And so there's just a ton of opportunity. And at the same time, anyone who's been following AI or working with it knows that on a monthly basis, these models are improving by just a dramatic order of magnitude. So we're just kind of, our role is to take all that context and then organize it, and that's, we refer to it as ontology, organize it so that we can surface it at in just an efficient way to automate some of the workflows that we have in sales, and just automate the tedious things so we can focus on customer relationships, but do a lot more than just take notes, like follow up with customers, give them the right information, position our product better, all the things that helps us grow. Alrighty, so I got a couple slides just to set the scene. I won't bore us with a slide presentation. We'll get to the fun part here in a second. So like we've been talking about, our main mission, Customer IQ, is perfect data accuracy. So there was a world where we had to hound all of our salespeople and marketing teams to get all the right fields and have them input after every call and meeting. We think those days are behind us. You'll see why in a second. Then this is going to increase our productivity, and then ultimately all this leads to is shortened sales cycles and customers having a better experience. So everyone has heard the like RevOps trope probably at this point, where a lot of tools, the genesis of these tools come from, where sales reps spend 70% of their time on non-selling activities. This is generally kind of like our inspiration for our whole roadmap, where the things that reps are spending time on, we can make a lot more efficient or automate using the context that we're capturing from meetings like this, so that it's just a much more fun job, save a ton of time. You can spend more time selling, and then everyone has the answers that they need. So we're talking about things like note taking, of course, but then follow-ups, data entry back in the CRM takes a ton of time. Meeting prep and planning, just getting ready for the next demo. Team syncs is something I think a lot of people overlook, but like meeting with the product team, meeting with your managers, meeting with marketing, how you go through all those notes and everything that you've captured in your deals and your conversations. And then just searching for content to move deals forward. So customers and prospects have questions and meetings, and you and a lot of the departments in your company have answers. So how do you go find those answers for folks quickly? So I'm just going to walk through maybe some nightmares of people that might be watching. 7 minutes before a meeting at 2:00, you get a message where, by maybe your boss or a colleague that's joining the meeting, and they say, hey, can you catch me up on what's going on here? What's the current situation? To find the answer to this, you usually have to fire up an account page, and you get all these little spinning circles, and you're panicking because you've now got 5 minutes, and you have to go through all the emails and notes from maybe months of conversations with this account. So this is one of the nightmares that will hopefully help solve. During the meeting, there's other people almost always on your team or on your prospects team that need to be up to speed on what you're talking about. So you have to take notes. A lot of great tools out there to take notes, but there's also many kind of like more levels to this that we can help share the context of what's been spoken about that you'll see today. And then after the meeting and repeatedly after, and kind of this whole cycle and process just repeating, where you need to follow up, share the information you've captured, keep everyone up to speed, keep other stakeholders up to speed in what's been talked about. So all of these things. Oh, and then finally, like we talked about, and maybe the most important part, can't believe we almost forgot. After this is all done, so that the whole team has what they need, you got to update the CRM. So you have all these fields, the contact level, the account level, not just summary notes, but segmenting people, capturing specific qualification fields that your company might follow, like medic or BANT or SPIN, whatever it is that the process that you're following. There's just a lot of work to be done before, during, and after these meetings. It's really important too. So teams that have just decided to do away with this have probably learned this lesson the hard way, but if you don't do this, forecasting will suffer. You won't know when deals are going to close, and that impacts just about everyone from the C-suite on down. Marketing, they can do a lot better work when you have good CRM data and lead nurturing and ABM campaigns, and customer success and product can really understand what customers want, what prospects want, so where the market's going, how they can better serve on the product.
No, but it definitely makes sense. And I think, some people think, oh, okay, well, people are maybe going to have to go through a little bit more effort to do this. The reality, if you don't have this set up in a clean way, it just doesn't happen. So it's not like, oh, we're going to save a little bit of time. If there's a little bit of friction in that process, people just won't do it in general. And then you're left without the data to do all the jobs that you need to do, like you mentioned on the last slide.
Yeah, it's a foundation for not just moving sales forward, but every team that's going to come, after that. We're serving the customer, getting them the right message, understanding what the messaging should be, all of it. Yeah. Cool. So the fun part, we'll switch over to what we're doing. So I think I mentioned this briefly before, but first thing we do is we aggregate all of the unstructured qualitative data. So think emails, call recordings, like we have a meeting recording bot as well. It's a feature part of the suite, and it joins all of your meetings, records them. We integrate with HubSpot, bring in logged emails. You can integrate even your help center or your help desk to bring in ticket based conversations you're having with customers. And then we have a family of AI models that just go to work automating this workflow. And a lot of what I'm saying might sound like a lot, but you'll see this all just seamlessly works into how your sales and customer success teams will work. So it's going to proactively extract highlights and then organize them by contact and account. So it's building this in a way that's perfectly organized, just like your CRM, and then automates the data entry back to the CRM. So this is not replacing the CRM, it's just making it 10 times better, where you get off a call, you get an email, you get a support ticket, and things are just automatically updating. And you really build this rich first party data source in your CRM without lifting a finger. And that last bit is because we have all this context and these amazing models and this kind of orchestration of analysis, we can synthesize insights at the highest level. So we do things like track what are the most popular feature requests, questions people are asking, pain points, preferences, things even separate of what you might be explicitly tracking in the CRM that are just helpful to inform the strategy long term.
I'm really a big fan of number three. And I know it empowers number four, but I feel like you've really solved that last mile delivery problem that we have. And so not just giving you the data and then telling you to do something with it, but saying, hey, yeah, we're going to take this call, extract the right data, throw it right into the exact fields that you need populated in your CRM. That's incredible. And that's what takes all of this technology from something that is really nice to have to incredibly useful. Um, and this is the biggest issue that we see with our customers of getting data into the CRM. It's right there during that moment.
Yeah, everyone hates it. Like every rep hates the new set of fields that has been mandated. But it's important, and it powers everything. It powers, I would imagine, a lot of the awesome workflows that you all set up with clients. And that's what has me most excited is there's amazing marketing automation in HubSpot, and there's tools for Salesforce, but it all depends on, did we fill out the field that triggered the right workflow? Did we segment these people so that we're getting them the right message? And now we can automate that just from the conversations that we're having.
Right.
So we'll go ahead and take a look. Enough of the slides. So this is the problem scenario. I've got a just example domain account HubSpot page here, and it's empty. So obviously, as a rep, I'm going to have some conversations with example domain. They're a target. I'm going to talk to John Doe. These are obviously demo accounts, but we can look at some real examples as well. But I have these custom fields, like I have a number of employees everyone's tracking, but implicated pain, economic buyer, the data volume, metrics, champion, use cases. And it's important that every team is going to have these like multi-selects and single selects. So again, not just open-ended text, that we're automating the entry of anything that you have on your account and contact record that could then power the workflows and the work that happens after. So I'll switch over to Customer IQ, and I'm going to grab actually a little sample transcript here I have with me and John Doe. And all of this happens automatically on when you're using Customer IQ. For the sake of the demo, we're going to piece through a couple of bits of this manually, for example, like adding this transcript in. So I'll just paste this in here. I'm going to add it to our sales demo folder. Folders are just how all of the data that's coming in is being organized. And then we'll add it to the John Doe contact record. So again, just reiterate, after I get off a call, if it's a demo or a call, I just get a notification that I have new account fields and new tasks and all this. And that's what's processing right now. And the only reason manual is for the demo. But right now, Customer IQ is pulling out highlights. It's pulling out any specific custom fields that we're tracking. Those are different for every workspace. It's pulling out tasks. And if it's a call, it's going to summarize that. So you can see I got this notification here. I'll go to the message. We have an awesome Slack integration. So if you have Slack connected, that it's going to come through Slack, and you can almost manage everything that we do through Slack in that case. But right out of the gate, so looking at the message, what happened here, you can see I've got it connected automatically to John Doe at example.com. This HubSpot indication here means that everything was synced to HubSpot. So that, that screen we looked at that was blank before, now every account field in this case that was available in that call has information and is populated. And we even have a meeting note from that meeting summarized and perfectly put in here. So a couple seconds, didn't lift a finger, everything in the CRM is populated. Switch back and just take a closer look at what this means. I can't stress enough, everything you're seeing here is custom to the workspace. So every company is different. They're tracking different things. They might follow similar frameworks. Like you have, in this case, we have some like MedPick field set up around implicated pain, metrics, decision criteria. But when we set up with you, we, in just a couple minutes, will set up and map specific HubSpot fields. So we've got it identified a bunch here, even a drop down with a whole bunch of different industry choices. This is an IT and services company, so that's really great. Checked off some multi-selects for use case, data sources that they're working with, CRM, even identified the champion on the account. So all of that, again, piped over to HubSpot, and I'm essentially done. Like what would have taken me maybe 30 minutes as a rep is taking me no time, and I have all this detail. So I'll pause there. We've got more going on, but do you have any questions there so far?
No questions, just a comment. This is absolutely beautiful. I can't I can't tell you how beautiful it is to just see, like, I had a call, and then when you log into HubSpot, all the data is already there. And you can immediately start actioning on the data, using it in any other workflows that you have. Because I can't stress this enough. It's not that we save the rep 30 minutes. This just likely would not have happened, or likely would not have happened in the level of detail, and definitely wouldn't have happened in this amount of time. And now you can use this data to keep pushing that sale along, and it'll hit your forecast in a better way. There's just so much you can do with it. So it's just amazing to see that connection and to see that bridge.
Yeah, these fields are, every team that's working with folks like you, like it's really thoughtfully put together. What are we going to capture after these calls? And it informs, like, can we commit to this opportunity to close? Or, when we hand it off to customer success, can we, do we understand the pain points and can we actually deliver on them, hit the metrics that they're looking to track to prove ROI, all of those. And so it's not yet, like you said, there's also kind of this cognitive dissonance when you get off a call, you're like, man, that went well, but there's a lot of information. How do I parse that into all of these fields that we put together? And yeah, it's just nothing to worry about now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
A couple more things happening too. We'll kind of take it now from this will give you a glimpse of the future and hopefully get folks excited about where AI takes us past just automating some of the things we did today. So this call was short. It was a sample transcript. Something that we do separate of automating the CRM data entry is we're just generally pulling out what we call highlights. And these are just small, like atomic notes on, billing issues, bugs, competitor mentions, requests people made, pain points, preferences, generally questions that they have. So they're constantly gathering from every bit of information that comes in, whether it's a call, an email, or a ticket. And this is how we just generally at a highest level track what are the trends and among all of our sales calls. And that original vision that we had, we're able to deliver on, where what salespeople learn on the front lines and customer success folks learn on the front lines is now really easily shared with the rest of the organization. And this is kind of where we see like the whole promise of AI, I think, come alive. Beyond just small tasks that get automated every day, we can actually make like deep business impactful decisions from this. And we'll look at what that looks like in a second. We're also pulling out tasks. So moving forward, it's obviously a lot more happens than just this call. You can see I've got just a handful of tasks that come of this. Again, synced in HubSpot. So if you're tracking tasks in HubSpot, all of this is in there, date complete and everything. So I'll get a notification tomorrow, run the demo with Sarah. And then in a week, I'll make sure that I'm on top of bringing that proposal to David.
That's really, really nice, because I think it's something people don't think about too much. I mean, even so, getting the task in there, but also putting in when the due date or when you promise to have something done and automating that workflow, that's pretty slick, because normally you'd have your next steps in your note taker or wherever, and then who knows where you put it. I don't know, write on a personal to-do note or something like that. But now also as a sales manager going in and seeing like, oh yeah, okay, this is what the person committed to. And also, especially if you're doing more enterprise sales or going up market a little bit, normally you have to bring in other people into the deal. So you have to kick off a proof of concept. You may have to pull in product. You may have to pull in customer success early in the deal before it closes. So I think getting all of that logged and tracked of what people need to do, again, just really powerful.
Yeah, and I love that you said that. It's a perfect segue. So let's say I do have to pull in someone else to a deal. One of the more unique things that we're doing, and to me, one of the most powerful things too, is all of these highlights and all the context in the fields are always being organized back to the contact and account level. And what that means, the benefit of it, is that we can always just get quick answers to anything that's been spoken to that account about, or to a specific contact, and get anyone up on the team up to speed. So that little Slack message that you saw where I'm sending a message to someone to catch me up 7 minutes before a meeting. Now it's as simple as just asking, fill me in on the pain points here. Or if we had a lot more information from a whole bunch of calls from a whole bunch of contacts, we can dive into like, hey, what did we talk about in the last meeting? Or what did we talk about with Jane versus John? Depending on what the conversations were about. And then this just keeps carrying forward. Like the more conversations we have, more context we gather, it's still just as easy to get answers, but it's all gathering in one place and organized in a way you can just have a natural language conversation with it.
That's really nice. This may be a specific question. And if it's out of scope, let me know. But I'm curious, because all of this is mapping back to the account as well. So we have a lot of customers and we have a lot of people who need to be running account-based selling motions and account-based marketing motions. Would it be pulling in the context across like multiple opportunities within the same account, and then like trying to find other opportunities, or getting a full account summary?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In this case, it's every conversation with every contact across the account. What is kind of new, and it takes a little bit of getting used to for folks, is if the more specific of a question you ask, and I wish if we had more data, we could show this better, but we'll do that for anyone interested. It'll give you more specific answers. So it's searching for what happens when you ask a question, as it goes through all the highlights that are captured, pulls out the ones that are most relevant, and then uses that to answer the question. So it's not going to make anything up. It's always citing kind of what conversation it's pulling that from. Like if I look in at this highlight, it came from this part of the sales demo call. It was with John. If I had talked to 10 people on this account across 3 different deals, telling me exactly who said that, what their concerns were, and I can continue to investigate there. So you can piece together really specific things and intelligence about an account.
Really nice. Really nice. I love that citation too. Like proof of work, because
it's important these days.
Yeah, it is. You're like, okay, is this model hallucinating, or is this did this actually happen?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, and then final step, and then we can jump around anywhere. Let's say we close the deal with example.com. It was a team effort. We got through, and now it's time to hand off to customer success. One of the things that we love about capturing all this context is we can do some amazing things around, for example, automating a sales CS handoff doc. So if I click this is going to use all of the intel that we've captured across this account, and then structure it in what would traditionally be like a handoff document that maybe an account executive or someone who is on the closing team would have to generate and share. So if I just add this to this doc right here, I quickly just have all of the high level information that I would need as a customer success manager to go just nail this implementation and onboarding. And anybody who's worked on, churn or retention issues know that the onboarding is just so important, getting people, just set off correctly. And a big part of that is, do we understand their pain points? Are we, going to set them up to deliver on those? And this is just a really quick way to get all of that together.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Do how do you set up those docs, and what flexibility do you have on the types of documentation you can create?
So generally you can create anything by just conversing with the AI assistant that's on every account and contact. And then these are like what we have. These are template docs that we have just out of the box for anybody. But if they want to they have a specific format for their account, we set those up with people one-off. So when they click handoff document, it follows whatever format that they're currently using.
That's amazing. I love the case study one too. Just to, click that, hand it over to marketing. Hey, go spin up a web page, see if we can get it approved from the customer. Just make that workflow super quick and easy.
Yeah, exactly. And similarly, if you have a specific format that you follow for your case studies, and once the customer's up and running for a couple of months, all of that context is captured. It's going to bring in, the challenge action result, what you did there, and now you can just generate content even faster.
Are you seeing customer success teams really leverage customer IQ? I mean, it's in the name, so I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely. So we almost always start with the account executive team, or the equivalent on the sales side, because that's where all the context of like what a prospect or company needs starts. And then we're obviously doing a lot. Really, the majority of the CRM data entry is going to come from that team, but it's a natural progression. Like the vast majority of our customers do expand into customer success because it's a seamless handoff, and then they are, at the end of the day, having similar, especially if they are kind of a revenue carrying team, similar conversations. They do monthly or quarterly business reviews. They're doing it over Zoom. That's now automatically recorded. They can track the progress of implementation through all these check-ins and emails, and that's all just coming in the same way. It's all the same kind of a technical pipeline here, so they're able to use it and get spun up just as fast as the sales teams.
amazing. Yeah, because I know before RevOps, I was actually a VP of customer success. So I have a special place in my heart for the CS folks. And, I think there's so many more meetings and so much more context that gets pulled out from that team too, that having all of that tracked and documented this way is really, really powerful.
Yeah, and the kind of nirvana of all of that is, especially actually in the case of customer success, as they're having those conversations and customer IQ is pulling out these highlights, you can look at highlights in aggregate to see you can kind of slice and dice and see what are people talking about. And so if you do bring your customer success team in and they're running their meetings through this and you're capturing that context, now you can inform product marketing, anyone who would be concerned with, like, just maybe more broadly, what are customers saying. So this is an example of a view where we're only looking at the feature requests across our sales discovery calls, but we could also include customer success calls or any other really artifacts that we're capturing. And then customer IQ is going to organize all of those and quantify them by what they're about. So this can help with, like, on the product side, prioritizing a roadmap; on the marketing side, prioritizing messaging, like using the actual voice of what our prospects and customers are saying. What can we do? And all of this seems like a lot. It just, what's exciting to us is that because we're capturing the context from these conversations, we're able to do this much with just one program. So the world is changing, dramatically, and these models are really empowering all of this.
Yeah, this is big. Usually it's just somebody who's the loudest person in the room who gets the feature requests added to the roadmap. Um, and a lot of people are hearing feature requests and might just not be sharing them at all. But this is a great way to get those customer insights. I'm assuming you can filter and group by like our enterprise customers versus our SMB customers or different use cases. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So these are just a handful of example views that I've built. This is something we work closely with teams that, if they have a specific, like, strategic objective or a question they're answering that quarter, will help to build views that answer that the best, but you can filter all of these highlights by the source they came from, sentiment, if they're positive, negative, or neutral, contact or account tags, and that's how you handle that enterprise versus SMB versus mid-market category, which are issues, bugs, competitor mentions, feature requests, questions, all of these. So yeah, you can slice and dice these in a bunch of different ways. It's just a really powerful way to take real qualitative data, from what people have said, and use that to inform all of your work.
Really cool. The last question I think I have um, is how are teams using this for coaching? So making sure reps are having the conversations they should be having, CSMs are having the conversations they should be having. Uh, what use cases do you see using Customer IQ to help train and coach up the team?
It's a good question. On the coaching side, we've primarily been focused on how do we pull out the insights from the conversations to fit workflow. And then what we have seen people do is managers, for example, can look at all of the calls across any folder or segment that they've had. So if I go, we'll just look at the sales demo folder again. It's just the one. But if I have a team of 20 that are all making calls, I see every one of them in one place now, and I can just easily flip through the submissions to see exactly what was being talked about from the original transcript, the tasks that come up, make sure that they're following up on these things, and then just like we looked at in the first place, the fields that we're capturing, and then on a per call basis, you always have the assistant you can ask questions to. So even more loosely, you could say like, did Sean talk about did he capture the metrics field? Did he talk about that certain price point that we have right now, or a discount, any of that? So people do use it for this. I'll say right now, the focus is definitely more on workflow, extracting the data. You'll see some more on coaching from us in the future, which to us means, if we're capturing information in CRM, our goal is 100% data completeness. Coaching will help us to get to that number, where if reps aren't asking the right questions to get what we need to qualify a deal, then how do we coach them into that? So not a ton explicitly in the feature set here for that now, but just a couple months, you'll see a lot more.
No, it makes a ton of sense. One more question I had is, so once you've been on Customer IQ for a while, you're starting to aggregate an incredible amount of data. What are some of the power features that you see people leveraging once you have this data organized, populated? How are people using Customer IQ to really drive actionable insights from it?
Yeah, great question. And it all revolves around these highlight views, is what we call them. So how once you have 30, 60, 90 days of data or more, much more, now you can start to understand like trends and what people are saying, what customers are asking for, maybe pain points that we can better market towards. So it doesn't matter the stage of the company. Like the early stage, obviously understanding like feature requests and pain points maybe you didn't know about are really helpful to see. And we'll look at how to build this in just a second. But even late stage, just understanding like markets change, the way that people describe the problems that you solve change. And now we have real data to support the language that people are using. So this is an example view of feature requests, where we're only looking at feature requests across the last 30 days from all of our calls. But we can quickly build one where we maybe want to look at what are the questions that people are asking. So in that case, I would filter by category is question, and can see that there was 651 across the last 30 days. In just a couple seconds, we can click what we call discovering, and what this is doing is actually clustering all of these highlights that we have in that view, and is going to, once it finds kind of the themes that make up all of these questions, they'll populate them in this view. And you can do this for any highlight in the system, any category. You can filter by sentiment, by contact and account tag, really a whole bunch of flexibility in how it's filtered. So we'll give this a second and it'll populate it. There we go, perfect timing. So in this case, just found two main questions, main categories around next steps, closing procedures. That makes a lot of sense. License management and user additions. And then where it gets even kind of more exciting is the way we have these architected is you can drill down infinitely. So maybe I want to know exactly what people are talking about with next steps and closing procedures. I can just continue to drill down into these categories, however I have it filtered, and see, child insights and kind of like the child and parent relationships between all of these themes and all of the views that I have built. So on the left here, you can see the kind of hierarchy, and all of this to say, now I'm just able to capture organization-wide insights that inform how we sell, how we close deals faster, making sure we're touching on pain points that perform well, understanding what customers are actually caring about. It's going to inform marketing, and then ultimately product teams come in here as well to inform their direction.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think, ensuring you can start capturing this data as soon as possible so you can start to get these insights is important. And we've talked about that with our customers. If you're not tracking the data today, every single day, you're just losing the opportunity to leverage it. So, I mean, this is the type of stuff that can really take you from good to great as you're going through your next stage of growth as a company. And sift through the noise, because so many people are making decisions on, who's the loudest person in the room, what's the one anecdote that an executive heard on one particular call, and now they're driving their whole perception on something. We're not all free of those cognitive biases, and bringing this data to light for the team to make really strong decisions that are going to be really important. It's powerful. It's powerful. And if I can't stress enough, if you don't start tracking this today, you're really, really missing an opportunity to leverage it as soon as possible.
Yeah. And in our case, it's really what is exciting about the way this analysis gets done is it's flexible historically. And what I mean by that is, as long as you're capturing the data now, like recording the meetings, logging the emails, which HubSpot does and CRMs do fantastically, but bringing that into a system like Customer IQ where it can be analyzed, now we can historically go back and search for what did everyone say about that specific feature, that request, or how many times did they ask this question historically? And to your point, you have to start capturing it. But what used to be, we'd have to capture that in some CRM field and then wait for 6 months to see how that aggregated out. And now we can kind of like historically go back and see, we had a new insight. We want to know how often that's been mentioned on sales calls in the past, and we can see that now.
Very nice. Sean, talk to me about the roadmap. So you have a lot of powerful features here. It's a full-fledged platform already. But as we know, especially in the world of AI, things are changing every day. What's top of mind that you're wanting to bring to your customers next?
Yeah, definitely. This is always the most fun for builders like me to talk about. But the biggest thing to remember, and I think the big shift in AI tools moving forward, is that we want to deliver these helpful kind of automations and processes and insights in the workflow, so that you don't have to like go out into a new tool, learn it, know that I need to click this button and go to this place, which we've done some of today, definitely. So aware of that. But where we're going to is the best example I can look at is when you look at a task. So right now in Customer IQ, I can have a call, I get an email, a support ticket comes in, it's analyzed. I get a notification in Slack that, hey, we filled out these fields in CRM. That's amazing and saves me a ton of time, and it's going to translate into revenue down the road with all this perfect data. But I also have these tasks, and that I need to schedule a demo in a day, and I need to prepare a proposal in a week, and maybe another contact needs this information. And this is what makes up the majority of my non-selling activity as a salesperson. The way that we're capturing all of this context and everything that Sarah talked about previously and what David cares about means that in the very near future, we can actually start delivering on this part of the workflow on an ongoing basis. You just have this assistant that is saying, hey, you need to reach out to Sarah today, and here's the email. And David was asking about pricing. Here's the pricing sheet. This surfacing in the background, but as a true like workflow automation and assistant to proactively say, here's the next thing for you to move this deal forward. And I think that's where this all comes alive and just builds on what is already really helpful automation, but this is going to really just automate that 70% of just tedious work that's not selling. And so that's handled for us. That'll really inform our roadmap forever, likely. And our vision is that this actually builds more human connection. So I don't have to worry about taking notes and filling out these data sets. I can just focus on an awesome conversation with you.
Yeah, Sean, I don't think anybody's going to be upset about you automating that 70% of work that they don't want to do anyway. So absolutely free up their time to make more connections and get their product out to the market in the best way possible. So, Sean, this has been awesome. I'm so excited about what you're doing at Customer IQ. I think our customers for sure would benefit quite a bit from leveraging what you're doing. Um, I think you've done an incredible job solving that last mile and providing a solution for bridging all this data we're collecting, but getting it exactly where it needs to be, not just half a step close to where it needs to be. And then the insights you can derive from this are really powerful, really powerful. So um, I'm excited about what you've built. I think it's incredible. I'm excited about what the roadmap is and what the future for Customer IQ is. And I know that our customers and audience are going to love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast. It's always fun to dive deep into the product and learn more about what you all do. And yeah, this is a great platform. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. And as you launch new features and new capabilities, come back and we'd love to do it again.
No doubt. I'll be here.
Thank you, Sean.